Today is Summonsing Saturday. Will you answer the call? Will you follow the assignment? To summons means to authoritatively or urgently call on someone to be present. It can also mean to informally gather, like summons encourage. It can even be a formal command to appear, show up in court, show up to a meeting, or even asking your own inner strength to show up on your behalf. Whether you recognize it or not, a summons can represent divine authority, a call from God to do something. Imagine if God called you to do something. Think about it. Clearly it must be important. It might even be urgent, because God doesn't need us to do anything. We can either accept his invitation, obey the command, recognize that clearly he's got purpose for your life. Think about all the people that God's used throughout the Bible to carry out an act or a mission. Usually that's the very thing that makes their life significant. But today's scripture is coming out of Mark 3, 13 through 15. Jesus went up on the mountainside and he called those he wanted, and they came to him. He appointed 12 that they might be with him, and that he might send them out to preach, and they have the authority to drive out demons. Now, I can only imagine how the disciples felt in that moment. Imagine to be called out by the King of Kings, none other than Jesus. Now, Jesus had been in Galilee performing miracles, healing people, and imagine in that moment, he wants you to work for him. And he actually calls you out of the crowd by name and gives you the authority to preach, heal, and deliver like him. Will you follow the assignment? Because, sometimes we don't answer God's call because we too busy. And then he has to humble us. I got a double whammy for y'all today. The summons can go both ways. I thought about that song, Take Me to the King. That's a request. That was a summons to meet Jesus. When you've tried everything else and you're desperate because of your situation to receive the Lord, we'll be singing that song, Take Me to the King. Think about it. The woman with the issue of blood, she pressed her way to touch the hem of his garment for her healing. The blind man, he wanted to be healed. He did whatever it was Jesus told him to do. Now, it's going to go one or two ways. You're going to either answer his call, or you're going to be calling him 911 saying, take me to the King. Will he summons you, or will you summons him? Figure it out on this Summonsing Saturday.